The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reversed the judgment of Nasarawa Governorship Election Tribunal, which sacked the incumbent governor, Governor Abdullahi Sule of the APC, and declared David Obugadu authentic winner of the March 18th poll. Trust TV's political editor, Shaifu Suleiman, reports.
The appellate court, in its judgment on Thursday, set aside the lower court ruling, stressing that the appellant was denied fair hearing. In a unanimous judgment, the three-member panel led by Justice Uchechukwu Onyemenam reversed the nullification of the election of Governor Sule of the APC. The appellate court's decision is on the grounds that the tribunal wrongly relied on the evidence of 8 of the witnesses that were produced by the PDP candidate, whose statements and oath were not front-loaded alongside the petition. It also held that Section 205, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, Section 132, subsection 7 of the Electoral Act 2022, and paragraphs 4, subsection 5 and 6, and 14, subsection 2 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act posits that every written statement on oath must be filed alongside the petition within the statutorily allocated time. The panel of justices held that the evidence of 12 remaining witnesses that testified for the PDP candidate were not sufficient to sustain the judgment of the tribunal after it struck out all the evidence and exhibits that were tendered before the tribunal by the 8 witnesses. The appellate court in another breath held that the tribunal acted in error when it deducted a total of 1,868 votes that were credited to Governor Sule on the premise that overvoting occurred in 4 polling units, even when the petitioners failed to provide necessary documents needed to prove overvoting. Dismissing the split judgment of the tribunal delivered on October 2nd, the court also vacated the order of the tribunal directing the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Governor Sule, as it affirmed him as the winner of the governorship contest. In March 2023, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared Abdullahi Sule winner of the Nasarawa State governorship election with 347,209 votes against David Obugadu of the PDP, who scored 283,016 votes.
Thank God for the judgments just delivered. They were well considered. Out of all the judgments that were delivered, I think today we say it was 4-0.
It was rather a very strange misconception of the case, and happily, this is not the final court in this matter. We already have instructions to test the decisions that have been rendered this afternoon, and we have already swung into action.
We've gone into a game, and in a game, there'll be a winner and there'll be a loser. And of course, you don't expect the losers to celebrate, and they understand the way they feel, and but the most understand, we must also have a state. Can have a government.
It was carnival like here outside the Court of Appeal premises with supporters across party lines cheering their candidates to victory. This is a suit that has generated a lot of interest on the side of supporters of both parties. That is the supporters of the incumbent governor Abdullahi Sule of the APC and that of David Obugadu of the People's Democratic Party. From the Court of Appeal premises here in Abuja, Shaifu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reaffirmed the judgment of Gombe State Governorship Election Tribunal, which dismissed the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party challenging the re-election of Governor Inuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress. Delivering judgment on Thursday, the court agreed with the tribunal that the PDP's case lacked merit. The Independent National Electoral Commission had on March the 18th announced Governor Yahaya of the APC winner of the governorship election with 342,821 votes, and Muhammad Jibrin Bade of the People's Democratic Party was said to have scored 233,131 votes. And Bade had approached the tribunal insisting that the election of the governor did not comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The lawyers maintained that the PDP candidates got the majority of the lawful votes cast during the poll, alleging that multiple thumb printing and ballot box stuffing took place in 9 local government areas of the state in favor of Governor Inuwa Yahaya. However, the three-man panel of the tribunal dismissed the PDP's application for lacking of merit.
Very happy and elated. It's a confirmation of what the people of Gombe State did. The elections in Gombe, as testified to by INEC and the observers, was very peaceful. It was free, it was fair, it was devoid of any kind of rancor or anything. The people of Gombe State came out and voted en masse for the people's governor, Alhaji Muhammadu Inu Yahaya. And what the court has just did today is to affirm what the people of Gombe State did.
What the judgment has just affirmed is to give approval to the decision of the people of Gombe as expressed with their votes on the 18th of March.
Yes, we have just received the judgment. We listened to same here. We will consider the judgment when we get the certified true copy of the judgment. Seek advice our client on the next step in respect of the matter. The conclusion part of it is that the court dismissed our appeal, but we still have right to appeal, further appeal to the appellate court.
And operatives of the police in Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, on Thursday prevented the new Nigeria People's Party supporters in the state from observing a special prayer session at Filin Mahaha. And Trust TV reports that there was an outrage that led to a clash between the supporters and the police shortly after they observed a similar activity on Wednesday evening. The supporters had taken to the street in a solidarity march, demanding, the justice in the certified true copy of the appeal court's judgment in Kano governorship election tussle. But on Thursday, when the supporters were out again to gain access to the place, they were greeted by teams of armed police and NSCDC operatives who denied them access. And although efforts to reach the police where Public Relations Officer Abdullahi Haruna were not successful, the NSCDC counterparts DSC Idris Abdullahi told our reporter that the deployment of operatives was to forestall a breakdown of law and order in the state. And the suspended Adamawa State Resident Electoral Officer of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Hudu Yunusa, has evaded arraignment for the second time. The investigating police officer, Moses Jolubo, disclosed this to the Adamawa State High Court and Justice on Wednesday. The trial judge, Justice Benjamin Manji, had tasked the Nigerian police to produce the suspended rec on or before the adjourned date of November 23rd. And when the matter came up, counsel to INEC, Rotimi Jacobs, prayed the courts to issue a warrant of arrest against the fling suspended rec. And before Justice Benjamin could respond to the request by the counsel to INEC, Rotimi Jacobs, a lawyer, Usman Suleiman, announced his disappearance for Yunusa, and according to him, he is going under the instructions of his son. And he further announced that the client is not in the country but in Niger Republic. And following these developments, Justice Benjamin Manji then tasked the counsel to produce Yunusa Ari within 2 weeks and accordingly adjourned the case. And 2 persons were feared killed when bandits attacked Kaurana Moda town, the headquarters of Kaurana Moda local government area of Zamfara state. According to an eyewitness, the bandits invaded the town around 9 p.m. on Tuesday, shooting sporadically, forcing residents to scamper for safety. A resident of the town said 2 persons were killed during the attack, including a female student who was on her way to Islamia school at the time. And he said troops of Operation Handarindaji deployed to the town engaged the bandits in a gun duel and forced them to flee the town. And the Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri has described the violent clash between the operatives of the Nigerian Army and police officers in the state as regrettable. Some soldiers had on Wednesday attacked the police command headquarters in Yola North local government area of the state, and the development led to the death of a police inspector, Jacob Daniels, throwing residents of the area into panic. And while reacting to the development in a statement on Thursday, Fintiri said that an emergency security meeting had been convened in reaction to the clash. adding that the resolution from the meeting emphasized a commitment to justice and collaboration for the peace of Adamawa and Nigeria. The governor commiserated with the family of the officer who lost his life in the clash. And Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum says his government will enhance agricultural activities and create avenues for trans-border trade between the state and Chad. The governor, who ferried over the Baga side of the Lake Chad Basin, noted that communities that have returned after insurgency would be given livelihood support and humanitarian aid, as well as encourage them to venture into high-scale farming. The governor also approved the construction of a new mega-size higher Islamic college in Baga town, where he said the 2,000 student capacity school will combine traditional Islamic education with literacy, numeracy, digital and vocational education.
So in order to provide means of livelihood, we are exploiting the potentials of the Lake Chad. So that is why we went to the water side. You have seen we have traveled up to about 20 kilometers inside the waters. So our first ambition is to see how we shall support the Nigerian Army, the amphibious command, how we shall support the naval base Baga here to clear the waterways, water heights and other grasses that are in the lake, so that movement from boats from Nigeria to the Republic of Chad shall commence without any hindrances.
Again, the Borno State government has distributed 275,000 naira cash, food and other items to 95,000 residents of Monguno town in Monguno local government area of the state. And during the distribution, 55,000 women were each given 5,000 naira cash and a wrapper, while 40,000 male heads of household received 25 kilograms of rice and 10 kilograms of beans. Monguno, which was displaced by Boko Haram insurgents about 8 years ago before it was recaptured by the Nigerian military, hosts IDPs from 4 local government areas. The state governor Babagana Zulum at the distribution exercise said the palliative distribution will continue throughout his tenure in order to support communities severely affected by Boko Haram insurgency. And Zulum expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima for supporting Borno State government with rice through the Northeast Development Commission. And you are watching News Update on Trust TV. Still to come. Delta residents decry growing moral decadence. And more news when we return. Do stay tuned.
We started manufacturing leather since 1958. But the most important thing is that if the system is checked correctly, we won't have where we are now.
If somebody has depression, they may just be very irritable and unproductive in the office. So you find on average already about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 Nigerians already have a mental illness, a mental health condition that needs some form of attention.
No matter how good an economy is, if the federal government goes bust, believe me, everything in the economy is just a matter of time it will go bust. So first of all, about maybe slightly above, below 70% is in federal government securities.
If government has banned importation of fertilizer and states are doing it at the level of governance, but I believe that production and distribution of fertilizer should be left to the private sector.
This is the general multi-purpose card and it has a chip here. So this chip is about 80 kilobytes. The one that you get from the bank for ATM is just 4 kilobytes. So this is like 20 times.
Welcome back, and this is still News Update on Trust TV. This is a recap of our major stories. Appeal Court sets aside tribunal judgment, affirms Abdullahi Saleh as Nasarawa State Governor. Police and the NSCDC operatives stop NNPP supporters from special prayer protest in Kano. And moving on now, the irregularity in the convening of the State Executive Council meetings in Osun State is generating concerns among residents in the state. The current administration of Governor Ademola Adeleke has only held 4 State Executive Council meetings in the last 1 year, a clear departure from the conventional practice of weekly meetings. And this has left many wondering what could be responsible for this and what likely impacts governors may face in the face of no EXCO meetings. Hamid Onyegbade filed in this report.
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria expressly provides that the President and governors shall hold regular meetings with members of their cabinets to ensure smooth running of the affairs of governments at both levels. But in the last 12 months, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has only held 4 State Executive Council meetings, unlike the conventional weekly state cabinet meeting by his predecessors.
By accident, successive governor of Osun has been holding EXCO meeting on weekly basis, some on Monday, some on Wednesday, but the current administration has not been able to do EXCO more than twice that are known to the public.
So as far as the law is concerned, the law does not stipulate the exact number of days. But the chief executive of the state, the governor, is expected to, play the game of democracy properly by carrying people along, have meeting frequently. Because it is when you have meeting frequently that you'll be able, to get critical buy-in of stakeholders in that particular state. It's then you'll be able to access, solid opinions, solid views that will enable you to drive, the so-called developmental agenda, that such a person has as a governor. So, law, critically speaking, no number of meetings. But that does not mean that the governor should not be having meetings frequently.
The Dean of the Faculty of Law, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Wole Adedeji, said, beyond the law, conventional practices should not be jettisoned.
And at times, certain customs are stronger, are more powerful even than law. Look at a country like Great Britain, for instance. They don't have a written constitution like we have, but they have very powerful, conventions. And the democracy in Great Britain has been there for centuries now, and is one of the most stable democracy, in the world. Why? They go by convention. Part of the convention when it comes to democratic governance is that the chief executive of a state should be having consultations, should be having meetings where decisions will be taken.
As the current administration in Osun State clocks 1 year on November 27, citizens of the state want Governor Ademola Adeleke to buckle up and deliver on his promises to the people of the state. Hamid Onyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
And Nigeria is struggling with the growing moral decadence and social-cultural value systems, facing a persistent erosion due to international influence. The cultural mode of dressing has been largely diminished as residents in Delta State call for a turnaround with a view to addressing an indecency among young Nigerians. From Asaba, Jonathan Awanyai completes this report.
Nigeria has become a melting pot of global ideas and values that often comes with negative consequences. The growing influence of media and how it shapes the lives of people have been largely responsible for decadence in Nigeria's society today. While social shifts happen from generation to generation, the pervasive nature of dressing among youth have given residents cause to worry.
Indecent dressing that has ravaged our youth today is westernization. Let me put it that way. these people, our people here, Nigerians, you know, we are good in copying bad things. We watch American movies where they see indecency as something legal. Here, as cultured people that we are, indecency is not supposed to be legal or what we are supposed to copy from the Western world.
It has gone a long way. This indecent dressing. It has gone a long way. Because if you watch most of our boys or the youth, let me say, out of watching films, if not, this sagging of trousers is supposed to be what they do in America in those days, the prisoners. Because you know when they lose their bed, the trousers will sag. So that is just the major thing. That's why the prisoners, that's their dressing. But I wonder why are you now making use of those kind of dressing? I call a guy. Actually, it's not supposed to be African culture.
The declining moral standards in some Nigerian communities has impacted negatively on the productivity of youth, and some say parental and institutional guidance can mitigate the dangerous trend by gatekeeping immoral and indecent behavior.
Mothers should help their girl child to educate them to dress well and they look neat and look decent so that they will see good husband to marry. Because any person not well dressed will not see any good husband, they will marry their type. And marrying their type, what type of children will they give birth to? They give birth to the same.
To wear to certain occasions, because, for instance, you can't be sagging or wearing ripped jeans and be going to church. It's not right, it's not proper, it's not allowed. Or you can't be wearing mini skirts and go for all these occasions like marriages or conventions. And it's not right, and it's really not something that you'd have to give yourself a name for something like that. Like they said, dress the way you want to be addressed.
It's good. You don't need to be expensively dressed to be decently dressed. All you need to do is just to cover the vital parts of a woman's body. A woman needs respect, dignity. The way you carry yourself determines the way you are dressed.
The way you dress is the way you'll be addressed. Therefore, children should learn to dress moderately, and parents should encourage their children to dress properly and not indecently, because it will give the family a very bad name. In the school, it is very, very common to find school children cut their own dress that have been sewn according to the school style.
While many youths consider their mode of dressing a fashion trend, the phenomenon, if left unchecked, could undermine the integrity of Nigeria's social fabric. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
In business, oil prices sank further on Thursday after the shock decision by OPEC Plus to delay a key policy meeting, suggesting fresh discord in the bloc. And stock markets, meanwhile, traded mixed after two U.S. reports dented recent euphoria over the future of interest rates. And both main crude contracts lead on news that the much-anticipated gathering of OPEC Plus, an alliance of major producers led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, would be put back by 4 days to November the 30th. And prices declined by another 1% on Thursday, having dived by almost 5% at one point on Wednesday following the news. And reports said the decision was made after Angola and Nigeria pushed back against low targets that were urged by others, with Saudi Arabia said to have been preparing to extend a 1 million barrel a day output quota into the new year. Riyadh and Moscow unveiled massive quotas earlier this year in a bid to boost prices, which have come under pressure owing to stuttering economies in the United States, Europe, and particularly China. Away from Nigeria, the Israeli army has arrested the director of Al-Shifa Hospital, the largest medical complex in Gaza Strip. Mohammed Abu Salima was arrested along with several other senior doctors, Khalid Abu Samra, a department chief at the hospital, said on Thursday. The The arrest was also reported by the Israeli Broadcasting Authority and was confirmed in a report on social media platform X by Salmia's cousin, Adam Abu Salmia. Gaza's Ministry of Health said it wants an explanation from the World Health Organization as medics were traveling in a WHO convoy with patients when they were stopped and detained by Israeli forces. He said the ministry had decided to stop coordination with the WHO regarding evacuations until they send them a report explaining what happened. And in a statement, Hamas said it strongly denounces the arrest of Salmia and his colleagues, calling on the International Committee of the Red Cross and other international organizations to work towards their immediate release. And now to sports. The Super Falcons midfielder Jennifer Echegini is in talks with Serie A club Juventus over a likely January move. Echegini, who's 22 years of age, is looking to quit her American club Florida State Seminoles for the European side. The Nigerian was expected to join the Italian club in summer, but the move failed to materialize due to education. And Echegini is currently studying management studies at Florida State University and will soon complete her studies. According to Juventus News 24, the Turin club has reopened talks with the player ahead of the January move. Echegini was part of Nigeria's squad for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand, and she has made 8 appearances for the Super Falcons. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and join YouTube live streams for more news, programs, and documentaries. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching.